Why is it that guys like Lincoln Riley, the head coach of the University of Oklahoma, get so much attention while a guy like Dabo Swinney, who's won 2 national championships at Clemson, gets so little love from the NFL? This week it was reported that Lincoln Riley has negotiated a $4.6 million buyout with the University of Oklahoma. If the NFL comes calling, Jerry Jones or some other owner will have to pay the University of Oklahoma that money to take Lincoln Riley away. He's the hot commodity. He's who everybody seems to want because he's the quarterback guru. Mike Tannenbaum said, I've got 3 reasons for you, Will, why Lincoln Riley's so hot. Quarterback, quarterback, and quarterback. It's guys being able to bring in and develop the next Baker Mayfield, or in Cliff Kingsbury's case, the next Patrick Mahomes. Can you make me look like Sean McVay? Can you make my offense, my team, sing like the Los Angeles Rams? That's what the NFL is in love with. We've seen, I don't know how many coaches hired that come from that vein, come from that brand. We'll also see how many of them fail. But the one certainty, the one constant success, the one that has established Bill Belichick as the greatest coach of all time is leadership. It's culture. Yes, Belichick knows something about scheming as well. He's been one hell of a defensive coordinator throughout his career, and he knows a thing, too, about offense as well, as he's taken over every aspect of that team. And he's also one hell of a GM, looking for value where others have ignored, looking to buy low and sell high, never overpaying, always looking for places where the rest of the league has overlooked talent or overlooked a position group or overlooked one entire side of the ball. All of these things have contributed to making Bill Belichick great, but the one thing above all others is his leadership characteristics, his ability to set a culture in New England, an expectation, the football equivalent of crossing your T's and dotting your I's. That is what has allowed the Patriots year in and year out, not only to change players and maintain consistency, but to continue to contend every year. So if that is what we know, why is it we overlook, essentially, the college football version of those same characteristics? We don't do it wholeheartedly. We don't do it 100%. Nick Saban has constantly been involved in NFL head coaching rumors. And Saban is the college football version of Bill Belichick, culture, leadership. But there's another guy who's been able to establish the same kind of thing, and it's Dabo Swinney at Clemson. He's won 2 national championships, rebooted that franchise, and yet we hear nothing about Dabo Swinney being wooed by the NFL. I believe he's given some quotes where he's suggested, yeah, that's something that could interest him. He's not a closed door. He'd be open to considering the NFL. So why? Is it that we see him as a recruiter? That he's a college rah-rah guy? That doesn't translate in the NFL? He's developed a pretty cool offense. He's now developed a couple big-time quarterbacks. Does he not have Deshaun Watson on his resume? Does he not have Trevor Lawrence on his resume? Heck, after the end of that, he'll be able to put his resume next to any others. Lincoln Riley, Cliff Kingsbury, whoever you want. Has he not been able to delegate authority? One of the key aspects of leadership. Why has Dabo Swinney not been targeted by the NFL? Nuno or Cerruti, I know one of you guys has this, but Athlon Sports put out their list of all 135 college football coaches. And they ranked Dabo Swinney as the second best coach in college football behind, of course, Nick Saban. The list is interesting. It goes on from there. You got Chris Peterson at Washington coming in 3rd. Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M 4th. He's got a national championship on his resume at Florida State. Kirby Smart at Georgia 5th. Keep going. Gary Patterson at TCU 6th. Lincoln Riley 7th. Jim Harbaugh 8th. Mark D'Antonio 9th. And Dan Mullen 10th. It's pretty fascinating as you go down. Cerruti, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at this or Nuno. It's pretty interesting where some guys come in both high and low. James Franklin at Penn State, 12th.
Mike Leach, 13.
I believe he deserves that.
I do too.
I
didn't think he got that kind of respect. I'm glad he did.
What's fascinating is the guys they also don't give respect to. You see who goes down in the 40s and 50s, and you'll see names like like LSU head coach, why is it Ed Orgeron?
51.
51, right. There's some others, like big-time guys that they have down. Look at that, Paul Chrysts at Wisconsin in the 40s. Paul Chrysts is, 25 for Paul Chrysts. I think he's done a lot with Wisconsin in a place where he's doing with less the recruiting base, less the recruiting classes coming in year in out. He's contending. Pretty fascinating when you look at this list. I think they've overvalued a few guys. Tom Herman, this is not somebody I think has been overvalued. Tom Herman comes in at 15th. One of the fascinating things is you look at the career arcs of these guys that end up in high rankings. Even Dabo Swinney, his first 2 years at Clemson, coming in about 500, just above 500. 2 or 3 games, maybe 2 or 3 wins above 500, and then it takes off. Tom Herman's first year was 7-6, then 10 wins his second season. This coming year will be huge for Tom Herman. It's the kind of year that if Texas does really well, could launch him up into that top 5. But that's the career arc for most of these coaches that are well respected. Give them 2 or 3 years. Let this thing bake. That's what it took with Dabo Swinney. Why is it you guys think that Dabo hasn't had the attention? Nobody's come calling for Dabo the way they do for Lincoln Riley.
I just think it's like, I wonder if Dabo, if word has gotten around that like he's just happy in college. Maybe he understands that like that's a better fit for him, you know?
Yeah, but that quote that I told you about, I don't have the quote in front of me. It doesn't sound like
would you be happy if the Cowboys hired
unwilling
Dabo?
To consider. Yeah, I actually would, Trudy. I would, because I'm not just BSing here on the show. No, I really do value that concept of leadership. I do think it's one of the reasons I've been willing to give Jason Garrett such a long runway, because he's preached culture and leadership and all of that. But I believe it's important, but he just hasn't been able to take it over the hump.
But I think the issue, though, where in college, I feel like you can get by in spite of your quarterback.
We're so glad you're watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports and analysis, download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, make sure you subscribe to ESPN Plus. We'll see you there.